Good evening, my dear friends. Welcome to tonight's emotional talk. Today, I received a story from one of our listeners. She said she had been dating an engineer for about 3 to 4 months. They were introduced by a colleague. At first, everything seemed promising. He was good-looking, simple in personality, not flirtatious, an only child, and his parents had a stable retirement income. On paper, he looked like a safe choice for marriage. But as they spent more time together, she grew increasingly confused. Everything about him seemed fine except for one thing. He was extremely frugal, so frugal that she sometimes felt like she couldn't even afford to eat properly when she was with him. So tonight, through her story, let's talk about stinginess in love. Is it a personality trait, or is it a choice? 3 months into their relationship, she visited his home for the first time. At the supermarket, they went to buy toothbrushes. He suggested, "Let's just get 1 cup for both toothbrushes." She paused and asked why. Only then did he change his mind and agree to buy 2. Another time, when they were eating fast food, he asked the server to give him the biggest piece of meat. She stood there feeling a bit embarrassed. She couldn't tell if she was just being overly self-conscious or if he really did come across as somewhat cheap. But what left the deepest impression on her happened during a trip to a scenic area. A cup of juice cost 40 yuan. He bought 1. After finishing it, he poured some bottled water into the empty cup and shook it. She jokingly asked, "Who's that for?" He didn't answer. In the end, neither of them drank it. She said she wasn't someone who couldn't endure hardship, nor did she expect him to spend lavishly. But that constant sense of calculation of everything being measured felt like a thorn, piercing the softest part of their relationship. What finally pushed her to the edge happened during the New Year holiday. They planned to visit his hometown. Since they couldn't get train tickets and his car was parked back home, he suggested, "It's expensive to travel in the city. Let's take your car instead." He drove. She sat in the passenger seat. As for gifts, he spent 500 yuan on alcohol, and she bought fruits and health supplements, also around 500 yuan. But for the entire trip, she paid for all the gas and tolls. Every time they reached a toll station, he would turn his head toward her. He only paid once. After they returned, she asked him, "So in the future, when we visit your family, will I always have to cover the travel costs myself?" He said he had originally only planned for her to pay for the gas. She replied, "We're going to your home. Why should I be the one paying for gas on such an important holiday? Shouldn't you be the one making arrangements?" He explained that he had just spent 20,000 yuan on dental implants and was short on money. But the day before, she had accidentally seen that he lent 1,000 yuan to a friend, saying the friend needed it urgently. He then said, "I can pay you back." He admitted he was wrong, but insisted his thinking was simple. But her feelings were no longer simple. Dear listeners, what was your first reaction after hearing this story? Did you feel a sense of frustration for her? Let's not rush to conclusions. Here's a small question for you. If you were in her position, could you accept your boyfriend adding water to leftover juice and drinking it? Could you accept driving your own car to his hometown while covering all the fuel costs? You can answer in your heart or leave a comment. Now, let's continue. From a psychological perspective, this man's behavior goes far beyond simple frugality or being practical. Frugality is a form of self-discipline. What he shows is an excessive reluctance to invest in the relationship, not just financially, but emotionally, in care. And even in basic empathy, many people think that talking about money in a relationship is vulgar. But I would say money is a mirror. It doesn't reflect how much a person has, but how much they are willing to give. Someone who truly loves you may be poor, but within their means, they will try their best to make you feel comfortable. He may not be able to afford a 40 yuan juice, but he wouldn't casually add water to it after finishing. He may not be able to cover all the travel expenses, But he would say in advance, "Let me take care of the costs this time." He may not be good with words, but when you can't sleep, he might awkwardly say, "I'll stay and talk with you for 5 minutes, just 5. Okay, but this man isn't poor, he is emotionally poor. A person with a poor heart treats even giving you a needle as a great favor. A person with a rich heart can give you the whole world and still feel it's not enough. Many women fall into a common trap. He's frugal because of his upbringing. He avoids emotions because he doesn't understand love. If I'm more patient, more warm, he will change. Stop. Psychology tells us that traits like emotional stinginess and avoidance won't change unless the person recognizes them and actively chooses to grow. He still believes it's no big deal if you paid for the gas. The purpose of a relationship is not to fix someone, it is to choose someone who already aligns with you. Dear listeners, if you are like the woman in this story hesitating whether to stay in a relationship that leaves you hungry, whether materially or emotionally, I invite you to ask yourself 3 questions. First, does being with him make you better or more anxious and doubtful of yourself? Second, if he remains exactly the same for the next 5 years, can you accept that? Third, if you had a daughter, would you want her to marry a man like him? The answers to these questions are your heart's direction. The woman in the story hasn't made her decision yet. But I want to say this, 3 to 4 months is enough to see a person's baseline. Don't mistake dessert for a meal. Love isn't sustained by "he's not that bad." It's sustained by "being with him makes me feel alive." That's all for tonight's story. If you're facing similar confusion in your relationship, feel free to share it in the comments. I'll be here with you, helping you slowly put into words the feelings that are hard to say out loud.